What's up guys, I'm Animatonic and I wanted to talk about adopts and share my opinion on the topic because I have nothing better to do, to be honest. To give some background before we start, if by some reason you don't know what an adoptable or an adopt is, it's basically a design made by someone with the intention on selling it. Usually for monetary value, but sometimes for other art and designs. I guess in this video I also want to talk about what adopts are and why they're such a big deal, especially on platforms like Deviantart, to give some insight into them for those who are new to the concept, or for those who don't really understand it. I also just in general want to share the pros and cons of adopts that I've seen as both an avid designer and buyer myself. To start off, personally, I absolutely love the concept, to the point that basically all of the characters I owned were bought as adopts originally. If you watch me on DeviantArt, you would most likely have seen at least a few of my characters. Jacob, Arcanian, Sable, Pharaoh, Fall, Austin, Toko, and any number of others. They're all designed by other people. In fact, the only character I own and actually see myself using is a character I just designed the other day, Loki, and he's the first character I've made for myself that I actually feel pretty happy with. He is also the character that you see in the speed paint in the background. For me, I see a lot of flaws in my work, like most artists do, and I know that I can improve on aspects like design, so making characters for myself is difficult because I usually won't connect with them. By buying designs from others, that self-doubt, I guess, is taken out of the picture, and it's just a case of whether the pretty colours, aesthetic, and overall look of the character catches my eye. I will admit that I've gained quite a weakness for buying pretty characters off others, and so far doing this hasn't let me down more than my failure to connect with my own work. But now that I've shared my own personal stance on adopts, I also just want to talk about them in a more general scope. Firstly, why are adopts such a big hit and why do people buy them? Well, for starters, for most people, adoptables are a quick and easy way to make money. The most common ones you'll probably see are either on-base adopts or adoptables created using line arts made by others, or designs from species. Typically, both of these are easy to make new designs for and can be pumped out quickly as you already have all the trait parameters already set out. For species designs especially, these can also target a specific market who is eager to own a character from your species. People sometimes like to buy them either as a way to get into a community, to be recognised as owning a character from a high-profile species, sort of like owning the latest from a clothing brand, or simply because the design is attractive and caters to the aesthetics that they like. Other types of designs, the one-offs or the off-base adopts, that are usually drawn by an artist and don't belong to a species, in my experience tend to be what is considered more high quality, or HQ. These kinds of designs tend to appeal to a broader range of people because the buyer knows that the design will be unique to them once bought. HQ designs are also generally more sought out as, on a lot of occasions, they are drawn by more experienced designers who know what colours and themes work well together. If the artist is a high enough profile, then the designs they create may even exceed just a regular adopt, and take on the status similar to that of a well-known brand. In this scenario, people may flock to their adopts not just because they like them, but because of the status that they believe might be brought to them by owning this design by said person. More often than not, these designs can be used as bargaining chips to get other HQ designs that the trader may connect with more. Regardless of the original nature of the adopt, however, the fundamental reason that designs are bought is because people either don't want or cannot think of designs that they truly connect with, and may only realise that they want a specific design in the moment that they see it made by another artist. The second point that I want to address is rules set by the creators of adoptables. In my opinion, what rules are set on a design will either make or break whether I buy it or not. Rules on designs are a set of specifications that an artist includes on their adopts, and that the buyer agrees to upon purchasing the design. Usually this entails things such as guidelines for payment once bought or won in an auction or OTA/offer to adopt, and how the design can be used by the new owner. For anyone who knows me, they'll know that one of my biggest pet peeves on adopter rules is either the no changing traits after bought or the no commercial use. These are two things that will automatically turn me off buying a design no matter how pretty it is. In my opinion, once a design is bought, the new owner has the liberty to do whatever they want with it. I no longer own the design and it was passed along with fair payment, so why should I restrict how others use the character? Of course, I'm not referring to use of the original art in a commercial capacity, I am only referring to the design being used in a commercial capacity. Before anyone says anything as well, yes, I can understand where these rules come from. But especially in the case of no commercial use, this puts way too many restrictions on a design. The buyer can't do anything more than just draw and collect art of that character in a personal capacity. If they ever wanted to do more with it, such as create a comic or write a book featuring that character, the potential would be wasted because of the fact that they could never go further than something just for fun, since even earning a cent of that hard work would be considered a breach of that rule. Even though one might argue that if that's the case they can just make their own, for a lot of creators that may not always be the case, specifically authors or people who aren't the best at designing their own characters. Some people struggle a lot with making their own designs. Me, for example, I do not really connect with my own designs, so for some people just designing their own to put into their own projects is not always the solution. In addition, the rule of no altercations to the original design as well is also incredibly restricting. It means that the new owner would never be allowed to improve and develop the design to be their own over time, and as such, for me, if either of these rules are present, I won't buy a design. Usually I buy with the intention of using said character later on in one of my many projects, and not having the right to go and use these characters in these ways means that that goal can't really happen. I know I sort of went on a personal tangent there, but I just wanted to discuss that while we're on the topic of adoptables, because that is something that I feel like more people should be more open with. I feel like a lot of people might get caught up in the fact that they can get royalties or something of people using their designs in a commercial capacity, but it would sort of be similar to, let's say, buying a thing of flowers from a $1 store and using that in a movie that you plan on releasing, and then for the store asking you to pay royalties for using the flowers that you've just bought completely and you now own in your movie. It's sort of the same concept, and in my opinion, just if someone is buying the design, they should completely own every right to it. They've spent the money on it regardless of how much it is, and I know in particular some designs can get to be pretty pricey and still have these rules. Diverting away from that now, another sort of related topic that I want to discuss is co-owning and what exactly it is. Co-owning happens between two or more people who want to share ownership of a singular design, or in some cases species. It allows multiple people to use and love the character at once to develop together or to use for separate things. This could be for multiple people working on the same project with the same character, or for those who love the design but have their own ideas on how it should be used, but ultimately join together to form the one character. While these can be good things, the downside of co-owning is that if the owners end up drifting apart, then ownership of the character can become blurred and messy as to who should retain the rights of the design. Despite this though, co-owning can also be a useful way to own an expensive character and split the cost of buying it between multiple people. This leads into the third topic of discussion, prices and costs of designs. Pricing is something that a lot of artists struggle with. For those who are new to the adopt making industry, I would suggest starting with cheaper and increasing your prices gradually over time as they start to become more wanted by people, or keep your designs open as OTAs or offer to adopts to see what people are willing to offer for the design. This allows you to get a feel for the price range you can ask, and it might even end up with people pricing your designs higher than you actually originally thought. In my personal opinion, people should have the right to buy whatever characters they want, but some people also get pretty butthurt over the fact that some designs can go for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. I do believe that this can be a bit ridiculous, especially seeing as some closed species characters can go for anywhere over $600, which again brings in the controversy of the no commercial use, as these characters can never be used for anything but within the species itself. This is due to the fact that the species is owned by another person and you are just owning a singular design within the world that they have created. Similar to having a fan character made off of popular games such as Undertale. In my experience, these really pricey designs only tend to stick around species designs though, as it's sort of like a brand's name for a lot of people. For me, I've seen high quality characters go from anywhere from $5 to $150. It just really depends on who the artist is, how much art you're getting of the character, and someone's personal attraction to how the character looks. Typically HQ designs go for anywhere around $15 to $60. They don't usually exceed that boundary, but if someone has a lot of attraction to a character, then they might offer more or they might bid more in an auction. In addition to this pricing, what some people should keep in mind is that when buying a character, you're not just buying that design. If it's a one-off or an off-base design, you're also buying the work that the artist put in behind it, or the hours that they spent making the reference sheet or the additional art that the character comes with when you buy it. This is why in a lot of cases HQ designs can be pretty pricey, because the original artist might actually be charging fairly for their work, unlike a lot of people. They might be charging, let's say, $60 for 4 hours of work spent making that character's design reference, which is fair enough because at least over here in Australia, $15 an hour is around minimum wage for a lot of people. The same can be said for other designs that go even more pricey than this though. Depending on how much an artist takes per hour for their commission, or depending on how they price their different types of commissions, this is most likely going to base how much they sell their adopts for. Moving on from prices now though, I want to finish off this video with just a quick overview of the terminology one might use when becoming involved in the adoptable community. So here's a quick crash course on the abbreviations you might encounter which are most common. When referring to an auction, you will most likely see AB standing for auto buy, or the flat sale price that a design will be sold for that allows you to stop the bidding process and go straight to claiming full ownership of the design. BO is another thing that you might see, which stands for buyout, which is an alternate to AB. SB, meaning starting bid, is the initial price to kick off the bidding chain. MI, or minimum increase. MB, minimum bid, or MR, minimum raise, refers to how little you can increase your bid amount according to the prior price bidded by the person before you. For example, if someone bid $4 on a design and the MI was $2, the next lowest price that you could bid is $6. LF stands for looking for. Usually you'll see this in journals of buyers looking for designs or offers. CS means closed species. This is pretty self-explanatory, but if not, then I might consider doing another video on these sometime because there it is, a whole other topic. NYP stands for name your price. Usually the seller is looking for currency offers on a design and doesn't have a specific price in mind. OTA stands for offer to adopt. Usually the sellers of these are open to looking at offers not just of currency but of art and other designs too. MYO stands for make your own. Typically these are used in species or breeds. UFT stands for up for trade. Pretty self-explanatory, usually used by sellers advertising their adopts in journals. YCH stands for your character here. This is not so much an adopt as it is the potential for your character to be drawn into a scene using pre-made lines, but I thought I would include it anyway. And finally, HQ, like I mentioned before, stands for high quality. This is usually used in reference to off-base designs that are aesthetically pleasing or made by high-profile creators. And there you have it, my discussion on adoptables, what they are, the different aspects of them, etc. I hope parts of this was able to help people new to the idea, or I hope that those already involved were able to relate to some things I stated here. Either way, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, ask them in the comments below because I'll be more than happy to answer, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!